Alrighty, good morning. Let me just check my Wi-Fi because it's been a nightmare the last 2 days and get my view right. How are we all this morning? We are in transmission day. Good. Let's turn this up. All right, you may require pen and paper today potentially for immediately after transmission. So just make sure you've got that handy if needed. We have apologies from Carmen and Don today. I think that's all I've had so far. Yep, it is. Just post the reminder. All right, beautiful family. Okay, so is everything coming through clearly for you guys?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Okay, no skipping in and out because I can hear it dotting around this end. We did have several issues yesterday, so I just want to preface those and say if the Zoom does cut out, I will just come straight back in, but it was a little bit of a challenge. What I'll also do is probably drop my camera down and encourage everyone else to do the same as we go into transmission, just so that I'm not having to check to make sure it's running all the time, that we actually have the cameras down helps the bandwidth, helps it work well. Okay. Right, who am I not seeing? I can see that someone's here, but oh, it might be clear. Yeah, better. Okay, that's cool. All right, so dropping in the chat how you are today. How has your week been since our very big deep dive last week? How has that been for you? What have you noticed? I know what I've noticed. Curious, what have you noticed about the way you are operating at the moment? How's your operation different than what it was before? Looks like we're not going to get music today. I'll have to play it on my speaker.
Bluetooth connected.
Great. Come on, chat. Come up. There we go. Okay. I've got to scroll to the bottom. All right. Owning back what was taken from me, no fucks given, giving me a huge boost. Overall, feeling very poised, positive, and confident. I love that. That is a beautiful thing, and the journey has been big, right? This reclamation of your power as a result of where you were disempowered is such an important thing. It's like vital to who we become, if that makes sense. When we still carry the energy of being the victim because something quite horrendous happened, it actually holds us in that story. Or we hold the remnants of it, which is, I guess, the same as if we were to take a big breath and go, like that trauma that sits in the body will sit in the body, whether it's been an instant trauma or whether it's been an elongated trauma, it sits in the body. So for you to allow that reclamation, that is the clearing, that is allowing you to be way more free. So amazing, amazing. I love your shirt, by the way. It's so good. My husband always wears Grinch stuff for Christmas, and all the nieces and nephews think it's the coolest thing ever. It's pretty funny. All right, beautiful. And Claire says, I think I've just been settling into just being and looking for stillness. Yes, and we had this conversation. Was that last week? That was last week. Yes, that was last week. Where sometimes our version of stillness has still been rather fast, right? And a lot of our lives have been fast, thinking that stillness, that's what stillness was. And then we meet this new layer of stillness where you give yourself full permission to rest, whereas before you would have rested and gone, shit, there's so much I should be doing right now, the old guilty, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, I should be doing that. There is a different level of acceptance that begins to arrive as you collapse the matrix, effectively, as you collapse the demand and disallow the demand to have control upon you anymore. You do find another level of stillness, and it is strange for us, to be honest. A lot of the time it's quite strange, because what we have encountered for so much of our lives is the feeling of lost, the feeling of lost in the chaos, lost in the busyness, but not realizing we were. And so this is our opportunity to reclaim in such a different way. And this is the beauty of the deepening connection with the grids of Gaia. Okay, Gaia is very still, but very calculating, very sure on what needs to happen next. She knows, she already knows. And this is the place that you're being guided to, we all are now, through these grids, is in fact the energy of certainty. And certainty offers stillness, where we're not guessing our way through life anymore. It's kind of just standing back and watching it all happen, but not engaging where I don't need to. Exactly. And just had this conversation with a client yesterday who had never been before, and her daughter was like, you need to go and see Sarah. So she hauled her ass to me. She was like, I don't even really know why I'm here. I don't think there's anything wrong. And I was like, okay, well, so we sat and had a chat, and it was interesting. She's got incredibly very 5D and beyond grandchildren, but she's still working from a very 3D lived experience. She's certainly awake to a lot of things, but she was still like, no, when I growl at the grandchildren, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, is there another way we could do that? She's like, I don't want to explain myself to an 18-month-old or a 2.5-year-old. And I'm like, cool, but if we start the explanation part now, then they see reason. Whereas otherwise they just see bully. Like that's how kids see it. They just think you're mean otherwise. So if you can begin to communicate in that different way, this is what it'll look like for those children. And it was fascinating letting her, watching her letting that in.
I've got from Steve.
Right? And she kind of,
just show me now.
I said to her, if you could just observe the children and let them lead, what might that be like? She was like, no, I don't really think children should lead. And I'm like, that's cool. That's okay. What if what you actually did was led their way rather than you leading your way? What if you could change the way you do it? And so we had these discussions around what could be done differently if she just stood back for just a minute and observed and then calculated how she was going to respond. And that actually made sense for her. I said, could you just give it another 15 seconds before you go, get off my couch. could you just give it 15 seconds and see what happens? And she's like, yeah. Um, so we did a couple of practices, and she could actually observe completely differently. That actually, these guys are the same as her. They just don't have all of these additional belief systems. And this is where and I talked to her about the Akoiya, and I said, look, what we've done is we've deconditioned ourselves. And it's an ongoing process, in my opinion, right? So we're forever identifying and deconditioning the parts of ourselves. But what it brings in is no need for reaction. Suddenly we don't react in intense ways to anything. We just respond. And I can just about guarantee all of you are experiencing that, where it's like, meh, I don't need to get wound up about this anymore. I can just be free. Gaia desires that for us, right? And you have mastered that through the dynasty. And now we are supporting Gaia and shedding this through the grids to help others do the same. Now, I don't know if you noticed, there's a lot going on out there. There are a lot of there's massive, massive solar activity, but there is also massive shifts in what people are choosing now. All right. You'll see all the dirty stuff on TV. Just ignore that. No. What you need to be aware of is what is really going on within the individuals that are with you and near you. And recognize that. And then you will really start seeing the shift and it be potent. So you're kind of just standing back. Kelly, do you want to drop in? Welcome. I see that you're here. If you want to drop in and say how you have been this week and how things are, I know that you've got lots going on, how things are functioning for you since the last transmission. The last transmission felt very grounding, very, very deepening, the last meditation. And as we begin to go into transmission today, my suspicion is it is much of the same, stilling us more. So this is actually our final transmission for the Akoiya dynasty. I know, right? But remember, you have always got the clips. They're always available to you. You can go back to them at any time. All right. I am building them currently, trying into a just the transmissions and meditations into a program of their own. And I will make sure that you get access to that too for free once all of this is done. So you guys will get that automatically. Okay. And then it's just in one easy place rather than having to save every YouTube link. Okay. And I know that Claire is here also, but she is probably still snuggled in bed with the kids. All right. Can you just drop in the, sorry, I'm in the middle of receiving something here. Can you just drop in the chat also, what is the one thing that you notice, if anything, is really getting up your nostrils? Like, is there something that's still really triggering you? Every time it happens, it just triggers you. Be really honest about it. There's no judgment. Yes. People not wanting to understand other people's perspectives, beliefs, opinions, sides. Okay. It's quite a big one. Other people's drama, how everyone wants to drag you in and explain their viewpoint. Yes. This is interesting. Seeing a common theme here, people. Absolutely. So the thing that is showing up the most for us, I've only got 2 people commented so far. Kelly, are you commenting anything? Why am I not seeing your stuff come up? That's weird. Other people's stuff. All right, so people not wanting to understand other people's viewpoints or other people's drama and how everyone wants to drag you into it. Okay, so again, it's a viewpoint thing, really, isn't it? Kelly's really grounded. Good, lots of big changes coming up. New job, starting a few days after I finish my old one. Straight in, no time to be nervous. That's right. Only time to be in full faith. Just thinking about what gets up my nostrils. What gets up your nostrils. So we're looking at the moment at other people's drama and other people's viewpoints. Just get curious about this. It's getting up your nostrils. The key word of both of these is other people's. All right. So it may also be, however, that that's other people not understanding your viewpoint. And my perception of this has been simple. If they don't understand the way you do, we need to let them go through the path like we did to get to understand. Okay. So rather than us trying to force opinions, so this happened for me all through the whole pandemic thing, right? It's like, wake up, people, come on, see what's happening. And I had to let it go because I had to realize that they're not wrong, right? It's just their viewpoint. And so if they are not ready to respect, honor, or hear the viewpoint of another, walk away. Just be like, okay, yep, go for it. Okay.
So that's about leading from the front, right? If they won't if they won't listen to what you've got to say, then they're not ready to hear what you've got to
Totally
say.
not.
Before we actually sat down, like I wrote down Akoiya and the date, and I don't know if it's a drop in, I just wrote down be the role model. And and that actually feeds or sort of speaks to that. And it's about you do your thing. If people are ready, then they'll catch up.
And some won't.
And some won't.
Right. And this is the big release. And I feel like this is the surrender. You know how we go through the process, it happens a lot in the cosmic seed for those of you in the cosmic seed, and we kind of get put to the edge of that lip of the cliff and we've just got to drop. So it's kind of like that a bit for me, whereas I'll go so far in a conversation and then I'll just go, honorably, I'm happy to just let it be. Right. And I honor your opinion and your point of view. I won't say this to them, but I know that it's through filters. Maybe mine is through filters, right? And maybe I've got a lot to wake up and understand as well. So there's a point where we just let it go. And I feel like this is a really healthy place for us to be when we get so freaking triggered, and so easily too, especially if it's something really passionate that we're really passionate about, or something that we've lived through, they haven't, and you're like, I've been there, I've done that, I've got the bloody t-shirt, it's a Grinch one, right? You know, like we've been there, we've been there, done that. They can't understand because they've never lived it, but they still have this really strong opinion on it, right? At what point do we stop exhausting our own energy, realize this is a massive energy leak, and go, cool, I call in my sovereign energy here to drop the fuck out of this and walk away? All right? And know that we have still yet planted the seed for their evolution and their moment in time when it is right and perfect for them. So have we, big rush up the back of my spine then, have we divinely planted the seed that was required? We were not to go to war. Okay? I firmly believe that even if there's an earthquake and things like that on Earth, I thank Gaia. And I know that might sound weird when we know that there are people dying, but I thank her because what she's actually doing right now, especially the way things are right now, is she is cleansing. All right. There is a lot we do not know about what exists within Gaia at many levels and many surfaces. And so I'm trying to come from a place of thank you. You do what you need to do. I will love you. Okay. And so if we can take earthquakes from Gaia and be loving toward those, we can be loving toward the earthquakes that may rupture throughout our lives, the different things that we are witnessing, experiencing, feeling. Okay. So be aware that somebody else's earthquake isn't yours, and you can thank it for showing itself to you, and then you can gracefully float away. It is okay to leave someone else in their chaos. I want to say that. It's actually okay. All right. What we've been conditioned to do is drop everything and be there for the other person. We can be there for another person without exhausting self. Do you know what? Gaia is always there for us. Creator is always there for us. Would they exhaust themselves? No. So in order for us to carry the right protective energy, aka that of what the Akoiya offer us, we must know our boundary. We're very good at transmuting energy now. The next part is actually, well, how do we protect ourselves? And I do find the word protection triggers me a little bit because it always insinuates to me that there's some form of weakness. Okay? But protection is also important because this is your kingdom. And just like there's a moat around a castle, it will be the same for us. Okay? These protective energies are what is vital now. So protecting your energy by choosing situations you will and will not partake in. It's going to be a massive shift for us in the next month on what we will and will not play into. I'm still, as I said to you months ago, feeling the 21st of December has something significant for us. And as I see all these build-ups in the solar activity, I'm like, shit, I could be bloody bang on. Like, it's looking pretty impressive. There is such a massive wave of change. We are the leaders of that. And you might think, oh, I don't have a social media following. I'm not, I'm not leading that way. You are energetically, which is every bit as much important. Every bit. Some of us are going to be seen more publicly, and some of us are not. You look at me, not that I like the word compare, but if you look at me and other people who do similar to what I do, some of us have to be in the limelight all the time. And I mean that in a positive way, because that's our job, to be there, to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, to be converting people. Others, it's to hold a more passive energy, not necessarily so much in the public view, but to hold a grid, a stability, right? And it is like we're like the heart chakra between the really busy front-facing active stuff and the grids, right? And then there are others you would have no clue they even existed. But we're all doing our job. What the Akoiya have invited us to remember is none of it is wrong. So if you're doing nothing except holding the energy of who you are, that is absolutely perfect. And there's never really been any pressure. If you think about it, there has never really been any pressure for us to be any more than that. When I look back over the transmissions for Akoiya, I feel like we've been so gently led. It has never been forceful, but it has been with a power behind it. And that's what we're being encouraged to hold in our hearts today as we go into transmission. Okay.
Can I just say something?
Absolutely.
I know with how I let a lot of things at work get to me. And I've really been able to step back quite a lot.
Yes.
And yesterday we had a meeting after work, and I've kept quiet about these teachers that come in and just really don't do the job when they've come from the other room to help us out.
Yeah.
I've said absolutely nothing. I've said nothing about how they overindulge children and how they how it just stunts their social and emotional growth when they come into the over two rooms. I've said nothing, but boy, it came up at the meeting yesterday. Other people brought it up, and I'm just going, I didn't say a single thing, and that felt quite empowering because I've learned I don't always have to say it, and to step back and let other people see it and let them come forward with it. And so that was kind of really cool that just that change in me in this year.
And I'm
Has
curious, would
been
those have been people that would have normally stood up and said something, or do you feel like maybe you holding that energy has empowered them? You know, you've not that you've stepped back, you've just kind of held the foundation of safety, right? So someone else can speak up. Would they normally have said something?
no.
Yeah,
No,
there you go.
the head teacher wouldn't ever say anything, and she said something, and I was kind of like, "Oh, okay."
That is so true.
And yeah, it was just a whole collective thing
Yeah.
that everybody said, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm the one keeping quiet."
So proud of you. Oh my goodness. Honestly, lady, the leaps and the bounds, it's just exceptional. You know, like you were so trapped in the frustration of working in a place with children that you love, but with people who just weren't seeing life the way you were. But mate, I would just love, in fact, I should try and find some, go back to some of our original recordings together. So you could look back at yourself and go, shit. And like go back and even look at the first recordings of Akoiya, like the hot seat coaching and stuff like that. You go have a look. You won't even recognize yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And I wouldn't have gone up to see my dad, even though I knew where he was. I wouldn't have gone up to see him.
You're so soft within, like that hard exterior that you had to put on to protect yourself. Now you're like, well, I'm actually protected by a lot more than just me. So I'm good, thank you very much. You know, like I've got all this light around me. I can convert any situation. Like honestly, it's incredible. In fact, all of you, I encourage every single one of you to go back and watch those first couple of weeks again and just see who you were and who you are now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm going to do the same because it changes for me too. Like, you know, it's not just you guys.
Yeah, and I often feel being down here in Wanganui and everybody seems to be out in Taranaki that Wanganui is actually on the Taranaki bight. So I'm here at the bottom.
That's right.
Yeah, this is my grid.
Right.
This is my spot.
Yes, I totally agree, babe. And but they're not, remember. So we've got people in Aussie. Where else are they, girls? We've got them all over the place. There are a few in Taranaki, but yeah, we've got them flipping everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. All right. Are you ready for this? Thank you so much for that share, because I think that that's just so bloody important for us to recognize those things and celebrate those things. Now, after this transmission, might not be till next week, I'll see how I go, there will be a feedback form for the Akoiya dynasty. And what this does is it actually helps me share what I do, but also to share what results can look like when you're just in transmissions, you know, and what they can look like, what hot seat coaching looks like, and how it can just, something that you've clung to for weeks can just be cleared and dealt with. I mean, it isn't just hot seat coaching, to be fair. There is a whole lot of other stuff that comes in and helps, but it's still hot seat coaching the way I do it, right? And so I would really, really appreciate it if you guys would take the time to fill out that form really thoughtfully and help me share what I do from your perspective, like things like that. Don't even recognize myself from when I started, like if that's what it is for you. Oh, Kelly's dosing. Good girl. Is this the good shit? Is that what you're doing? Yes. Oh my God, I love that stuff. That's coming away on retreat with me. Because I've taken all of the packets of it because now everyone's like, oh my God, can you bring this for me? So it's like, oh, I'll just bring the whole bloody range. We'll be tripping out on Blue Lotus. All right. So I would just also like to share today that it's pretty much a year since the Akoiya dragons came into my life. So I feel like it's so poignant right now that this is the last full transmission with them when I journey tomorrow back to the very place that it all began. So I hadn't even realized that till I woke up this morning and then just went, whoa, that's some pretty big timing. So there is something that I do want to do, and that is as I return back to what I would call it the Akoiya's birthplace, that's how it felt to me. I will be sharing transmissions into the group in whichever way I can, photos, pictures, whatever, for you guys so that you can see how it all, and I'm covered in goosebumps right now, I've been talking about it, how it all came to be. I desperately want to, and I will work it out while I'm over there, I desperately want to run a deepening retreat over there. So keep that in mind because we will be working quite strongly with the Akoiya dragons, and you guys being the doulas of that will have a significant part in that if you are willing to attend. All right. So I'm just trying to work out timing and catering and all of the things. All right. Okay, beautiful ones. Let's settle on in. Can you hear the music behind me or not? Okay. Okay, great. Just a tiny bit. I want to turn it up, but I just don't want to blast you. Try this next one and see what happens. Is that all right? Is it cut in and out or not? Okay, brilliant. Okay. All right, beautifuls, here we go. I am applying the amethyst ring today because it just amplifies everything for me. Resting yourselves down. Feel free to turn your camera off. Keep that flow going for our stream. And there you are, glistening in a way in which you almost do not recognize self. You have come so far. We have merely guided you. It was never our intention to mold you in certain ways, but to enhance you in great ones. You chose this journey. You knew whom you would become to a point. You would become familiar with the lines of the dragon, the song lines which flow through the earth, and deliver recipes of nurturance to a planet so much in need. It is our awareness that you were not so aware, the profound changes that would take place within your heart. Whereas you began to familiarize, harmonize with the frequency of us, the Akoiya, you would harmonize your own frequency too. You would find yourself deepening in your understanding of whom you are, vibrationally mimicking that of us through many of the actions you would then choose to take in your life. We look back on the grand scale of your journey with us, which began, we might add, well before this dynasty began. You were still awaiting your very own birth. Much like the egg of the dragon laying in the nest as you journeyed to the inner world and met the mother dragon. You were an egg, laying ready to be mature enough within the safe capsule to immerse and experience a fullness and wholeness of self. When you arrived here, it was as if your egg rolled into the nest of the cosmic inner earth dragons. And we observed you as you gently arrived in our soft, nurturing nest, filled with straw of love, available to you always, networking within you and beneath you as you gained your wings to fly. And as you lay within that protective shell and developed, we have supported your codex, your inner worlds, knowing the grids of who you are, began to activate. And you have received this data through transmissions that have infused every part of your body and restructured your perception, belief, and receipt of life. We were with you as you discussed only moments ago whom you were when you rolled into the nest. And we remember the scent of you, the smell of your excitement and your fear on what this may mean for you at every level. It's fair to say every one of you carried an element of concern for where this journey may take you. If it would be that of a challenge that might create resistance, would you cope with the intensity of the transmissions and being in our presence? Would you feel us? Would you know us? Would we welcome you? And you began to birth the shells of your hardened exteriors. began to produce tiny hairline fractures. As you dove deep into the parts of you that had held the anger, the rage, the grief, the sadness, the guilt, the blame, and the shame, where you judged yourself so deeply and you protected yourself from yourself. Humanity's greatest condition is in fact protecting self from self. And as we have journeyed you into your inner world, to reconfigure at an intracellular level the energy structures, the waters, the fire within. It has given you full permission to change and grow. You chose to disrobe, and as you did, the fractures became more apparent. You chose to allow us to merge within you as we do every day that we meet. You chose to sense our faces and our presence and allow our beat to merge with yours. You have become very strong, which is so important as you begin to emerge. You see, without the strength that you have been cured into throughout this journey, you would not be here today, enabling the softness of who you really are. You would still be fighting, awaiting the next major problem, unable to discern what was yours and what was yours to observe. You would not, in fact, be available to self. Now that version of you has become a distant memory. The version who entered here in fear and worry and excitement remains in the excitement of what a future will hold without the fear. And every time you disrobed, the fractures became more apparent. So we began to open you to versions of yourself whom you had never met. Familiar so much they are to you now, yet in those moments before our time together, you would often question what life was about, why you were even here, how long you had to be here for, and why could you not just go home? And as you departed from those parts of you, that could not be fully present with who you were. The fractures became cracks. And we have guided you long and deep, but you have guided self. Your innate knowing has strengthened to become a wisdom. You feel us and you sense us, often feeling so strongly you are in fact a dragon yourself. We move within your body now. We are here to hold the fire of your truth. We are here to support the breath of transmutation, and we embody protection. And it is from this place that you recognize yourself. That you have received the codex of power, fearlessness, the wisdom and the inner knowing that you've got this. That life does not happen to you ever. You create it. And if it is not to your liking, you transmute it. You have breathed our breath. You know the way. You are being welcomed to continue journeying with us in whichever way feels right with you. You may explore the senses of your body in this transmission where you begin to recognize a breath that breathes all the way to the base of your spine. You've never breathed that deeply before, perhaps. The portals of your body open as a new birth is available to you. As we send your guide back to a deep place of connection, where she in fact embodied us. She rebirths for you, an honorary process of unfolding newer layers, cracking through new protections. As you are forever applying and are not necessary. Be in the flow of permanent safety, dear ones. As we are with you. A prosperous place to mold your life from is a deeply anchored safety. Give you the wings to soar. We wish you to feel the cracks within the shell of your capsule. Releasing you from your place of growth. As you experience new wings. A new flame of light within. New awarenesses. Capabilities. And controls. You may experience the felt sense of your body having the stabilizing tail of truth. That you are anchored, stable, secure, and foundationally strong. From this tail, there are energetic cords, many dropping from the tail into Gaia. And like colourful ribbons, they connect with her, they support her, and they charge from her. Invisible threads, only seen whilst connected, then release when you choose to fly. Perhaps you sense the energies of your Akoiya family. Coming around you to share in this moment of effectively graduation. This is a moment of such power. When you rolled into the nest, you were nothing like whom you are now. And it may feel as though such a forward momentum has taken place for you. And it has. But it is also a remembering, which at a human level is often considered looking backward. We wish to improve this concept for you. You have done neither. You have not moved forward, you have not moved back. You are present. You have expanded. You have tuned the radio to a new bandwidth, which gives you greater reception in and through your quantum capability. In this realm, there is no lack. You are prosperous, abundant, healthy. You are neither forward nor back. You are perfectly exactly where you are in the stillness of mastery. The Akoiya may travel the world within the songlines. They may travel through these songlines through the earth to deliver new tunes, new tones, new melodies, new harmonies. There is no force through what they do. They simply know it is achieved. And so it is. What if you were to know your entire life in every element of satisfaction, joy, love is met? It is met because you birthed it. You chose to start again in this remarkable way. What if where you took your life now has already been completed and it is magnificent? All you have to do is stand in your nest, prepare your wings for flight, allow the breath of the mother's wind to penetrate and dry your newly found multicolourful wings. What if she were to look you in the eyes as a fledgling dragon about to launch themselves into the world? As she looks into your eyes, it is a level of self-belief you have never encountered before. She mirrors to you the person you have become. She shares with you her full faith in your ability to fly in this new way. And as you see her eyes and you feel her heart, you know that you are held. Begin to allow those wings to softly and gently feel the sense of wind beneath them, still anchored in the straws, feeling the potential of launch, feeling the beat of your heart as you explore new possibilities available to you now that you have transmuted and cracked open such potent empowerment. explore the edges of your nest. And it is curious, exciting, invigorating. To leave this place of safety is not to fear, it is to flourish. And it is to fly to freedom. And you will walk around the nest, I'm sure, many times. As you observe the best place to launch your new life, you will in a moment find a space that is absolutely perfect for you. For a moment, you will poise yourself, positioned, ready for the great flight, where you will journey down the dragon lines with melodies and songs that your frequency produces. And in order to support the planetary shifts upon us now, and you will momentarily look back into the nest. You will observe where you came from, what you learned as you grew, how it nurtured you. And how what you observed through this lifelong journey of growth also showed you the very things you must depart from. You observe the broken shells that had encapsulated you, nurtured you, and protected you. And you thank them deeply, for it led you here.
Just finish this transition then, yes.
It led you here to peace, to harmony. And it brings you to the moment of your flight into new worldly possibilities. In whichever way you carry the colors of the dragons, their frequency, and are purposefully sharing, it shall be perfect. Perhaps you lay your body after flight upon the ground and rest, connecting with Gaia. Perhaps you go deep into her center. Perhaps you rest within nature, her trees. Perhaps you soar above it all, breathing deeply as you do in flight meditation. And it is in that moment where you build strength and knowing that you have graduated to a place of divine expansion and acceptance, into timelines harmonious and potent, and into receivership abundant and prosperous. Your role is simply to maintain the song with the Akoiya. A badge of responsibility is cloaked upon you. It comes the highest transmission of care and protection, of support and guidance. We are always here. You birth the energy of the Akoiya through humankind. And we love you deeply. We invite you now to spread your wings. Feel the wind beneath them. Feel the pressure building beneath. Feel the energy of an entire timeline shift within you. Where everything you have ever experienced that was hard or difficult is freed. And you fly. Allow yourself the greatest breath. More wind beneath those wings, the tail. Momentarily releasing the colourful ties that charged from Gaia. And a wisp of wind lifts you from your post. And you rise. You take it all in. Bakiare ona, iya ya shuya Akoiya. For a moment in the stillness, you feel the shift, the change. You may feel the emotion of the departure of all that you have known until now. And then you will feel the freedom, the power of whom you have become. Glide. Discover yourself. Opening yourself to the full potential of your truth. Now you land wherever it is right for you. And you anchor your tail upon Gaia. You will give and receive from your flights of abundance. You will give and receive from your connection with Gaia. For you, you are the conduit. You are the beat, the heart, the rhythm, pattern of a new way. You have activated the energies of abundant and more clear timelines. And we know you are ready for this. And you fly home this time to land in the body that hears this voice, as we have spoken to you through your guide. We invite you now to land within self and hear the voice of your truth. Dear ones, you are never alone. We are within you. Feel your body. It is within ours and ours within yours. Colorful, expansive, magnetic, abundant, love. And land safely now. Breathing the breath that returns you to self. Where the essence of the universe exists within you. always with you. We love you so deeply. Wai kia no shama e ali e aki koropo ya ane haya. He ane shia me kia koia. Ia no sho shame aki a ane. Oerinea. Oerinea ia kia so torbia shania. Haya ngoko ya tibiara dasha. Ia sulenea. Waya kiasha. As and when you are ready, dear friends, welcome yourselves back into the room, feeling your feet upon the floor. Anchoring the safety of these beautiful creatures within you. Offering so much love, so much gratitude to the Akoiya for the transmissions. And we still, of course, invite them back for our hot seat coaching and our final meditation. We too are always with you, Akoiya. Come on home, family. Whenever you're ready, bring your screens back up. Right, take in your water, you know the drill. Wow. How are we all going? How are you all feeling since that? Your bodies, I'm noticing Claire's got the wriggle and the jiggle. I certainly sense the same. My body feels different. My body feels very alive. But it's like it wants to have everything in there. So letting that land. What were your observations? Need to stretch? Yeah, go for it, do it. What are your awarenesses? Oh yeah, slept through the whole thing. It was very, kept feeling like it was like the whispers of wind kept coming to me, those words in the back of my mind. I kept hearing the whispers of wind, and it was like we just get carried in this wind was kind of my interpretation of that. From now on, it's just like this breeze. It's just going to carry us. We'll just notice that if we're not meant to be somewhere, we'll just get moved. Like that's how it feels to me, like a very magical whisper. So I'd be curious to see if anyone else resonates with that. Sleep through the whole thing. Yes. Feeling very anchored and loved. Yep, I have to agree. I feel it very much the same. Very light. What a way to go into a new job. Feeling very light. Amazing. So as you know, there's a big journey ahead. You do this with me. We are going to anchor the human connection to the Akoiya this week. Okay? Most likely Saturday will be the journey. but I will let you know. And if you would hold the energy as I do this for us, that would be amazing. Okay. I will be taking a representation of the Akoiya to the waters, and it will be left in the waters. If any of you have any requests about a message you would like shared to the waters, to the dragons, by all means drop that into the group and I will read them out at the lake. Okay, maybe do that before Saturday so that I have that available, and I will be sharing pictures for you, everything I can. If I can video the immersion, I will. Okay. Right, much love to you all. I will see you next week for our hot seat conversation. It is not over with the dragons. It's simply the end of the transmission. I know that the final meditation will be hot. Keeping in mind too, it's 3 weeks in a row. There is no week off. Okay, so no integration. Integration will be at the end. So we have the next 3 Tuesdays together. Although I will come back to you on Tuesday next week, as I've been asked to go and work at the other place for an extra day. So I'll just work out how we do that. We may do our thing on the Monday night, but I'll just check with everyone in the group first as to what's going to work. And I will be in touch with what date that's going to be. Okay. Or we may, the other thing we could do, and I'll suggest this to everyone too, is next Tuesday potentially we do some hot seat coaching and then go straight into our closing meditation. So we'll see what works better for everyone. It is coming into Christmas. You'll be flying on Monday evening. Girl, you're already flying. Oh, you mean like human flying. Okay, so where will you be Tuesday morning? Able to be on the transmission? Yep. Okay, so I'll just work that out then. What we might do is integrate the Tuesday session with some hot seat coaching, and then maybe the final, if that feels good for everyone. That kind of makes sense, right? Yeah. Okay, so it might just be a doozy next week. Kelly, do you know your roster yet? Oh, actually, that'll work for you because you don't start till Wednesday. Oh, you'll be working Tuesday morning? Okay, next Tuesday. Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. And so I'm pretty sure the Tuesday, the 17th, the Tuesday the 17th, is that next week? Yeah, it is. Tuesday the 17th next week, I have to go to my other job as well. So we're definitely going to have to find another date, but maybe we even look at doing, I will come home on the Sunday. We could potentially do transmission on the Sunday evening. But let me just check before I go and say that. I'll probably be pretty tired, but I'm sure I will also be very charged to share the dragon story. So, yeah, let me look into that and I'll come back to you as quickly as I can with how that's going to work, okay? I'll be in Dunedin, but all good to Zoom? Okay, perfect. Fantastic. All right, beautiful family. I will see you very soon on our call. Much love to all. Gently, gently, gently on selves today. Okay? All right. Love you guys.